This video is basically a preparation video before you start grafting your Japanese maples. So number one, we take our pruning shears. I've got some isopropyl alcohol on here. I'm going to spray them, wipe them off so they're ready to go. And as far as having sharp pruners, well, this is the equivalent of a 2000 grit sandpaper. So I lightly grind the surface, and then I'll go straight on the other side. I'll wipe it off. That's sharp. Just run your finger up the edge. If you don't feel anything, then you know it's sharp. If you feel something, well, then you know you've got a slight burr and you'll want to take that out. Then what I do, I take the equivalent of 6000 grit stone and I give it the final sharpening. So I use a round circular motion, very light. Run my finger along that edge, along this edge. No burrs, extremely sharp. A great way to see if they're sharp is I just stick it on my thumbnail and it just curls up the nail skin like a soft warm butter. So you know your shears are sharp. So we're good to go in that department. Okay, now we've got our grafting knife. This particular grafting knife is made in Germany. It's over 50 years old now. Still works like a charm. I'm going to do exactly what I did with my pruning shears. I'm just going to take my 2000 grit, round circular motion on the blade side, and then the flat side straight across, circular motion. I'll give it a quick wipe. I'll take my 6000 grit just to give it that final edge. Run my finger along the edge, not the blade. Feels good. Do the test. Just run the blade. Scrapes that nail like soft warm butter. So we're ready to go. So what I've done is I've cut a couple of limbs off some of our dwarf fruit trees, and they are going to simulate the Japanese maple rootstock. So this is a little bit bigger than the caliber of the rootstock, but that's fine. This is just so you can practice prior to grafting. Now what we're going to do, if this is your rootstock, we're going to hold the knife at a very slight angle into the wood, and we're going to draw it towards our thumb. So I'm going to go through that outer bark into the cambium layer and go down about 3 centimeters. There we go. So you notice it's a nice even cut. This piece that we've opened up, that is where our graft will slide into. So you want to stop your cut when it's into that cambium layer, and don't cut it off. Don't draw yourself back to the outer bark. Now it's ready to go. So with these limbs, you can just practice away. Practice with drawing that knife towards your thumb. There we go. That's all we need. Grafting is going to start in approximately 2 weeks from now, as the sign wood is almost ready. The main thing I'm waiting for now is just the weather. I don't want to be grafting in a heat wave. Seasonal temperatures and If it's cloudy, that would be optimum, so we don't get the excessive heat during the day. And early morning we'll be grafting. I'll be out there at 5 o'clock in the morning. You notice now I pulled this too hard, and of course I took the bark right off. So of course that's absolutely useless. That's why you want to practice a lot before you start cutting into your actual rootstock, because we don't want to damage it. Every cut is critical. So on one single limb of a fruit tree stem or whatever, any deciduous tree, you can get lots and lots of practice time. If it's very hard to pull the knife down through, then you're cutting too deep into the cambium layer. Like I gave that example intentionally. So it's very important to keep that slight angle, drawing it towards your thumb. There's a nice clean one. There we go again. Okay, now we'll take a look at how to prep the actual sign wood for grafting. Okay, now we've got the actual sign wood. Now this is from our pixie. There's a couple pieces ready to go. Once we cut the actual branch off, I just go ahead and I cut those leaves right back. So you've got, maybe a centimeter or so. Now, in order to tell if the sign wood is ready, you take your 2 fingers and your thumb, put some pressure together. If you don't feel that limb bending, you know it's ready to go. You notice now I've cut just above the nodes. I always like to leave a set of 2 nodes for a graft. So I'm going to cut it right here, and I'll cut it right here. Now I've got 2 pieces ready to graft. So again, you can practice with a lighter fruit tree stem, any deciduous tree, prior to grafting. I just happen to have a lot of sign wood here that's already ready to go, so I thought I would just use the actual Japanese maple. Now here we go, same process. What we're going to do, we're going to take that knife and we're going to run down right through to the end. There we go. So this time we cut it right off. Now you notice I've tapered right down to the end. This piece then is what we actually insert into the rootstock. But again, for now, you just want to practice that cut. So I'll take the next one. Same thing. I'm keeping my thumb at the end. I'm taking my knife and just run right down. Now there you notice I didn't go deep enough, so I'll take it again. And there we go. See how it tapers right down to almost a point? The trick is to go smooth and fairly quickly so you don't do too much damage. The slower you go, the greater the possibility of damaging that cambium layer. So let's try 2 more. So now remember, notice the angle of this stalk. Well, we don't want to cut it this way, otherwise when we go to graft, this will push right into the tree. So be aware of your limb angles. We want to make the cut on this side, so that way when we do insert, it's growing away from the rootstock. So always do a visual before you make the cut. Again, thumb at the end, the knife is just below the nodes, and I'm going to draw it. There we go. That's all it takes. A good sharp blade will give you good results. So one more, again, take a look. Notice it's pushing away to the left. So of course we want to make the cut on the right side. That way it will still push away from the sign wood. So here we go again. Now you notice this is really long. So let's cut that back before we even start. There we go. And I'm going to thumb, and there we go. Nice clean slice, ready to be inserted into the rootstock. So hopefully this little tutorial will help you get ready for your preparation part of the grafting that we'll be doing in a couple of weeks from now. So remember, good quality, sharp tools, and clean. One thing I forgot to mention, I generally clean the blade when I'm grafting after every 3 or 4 grafts. Although everything is clean and the blade's not touching anything, I just make a habit of continuously wiping the blade. Hope this helps you out.